Hello students, before we start the second part of chapter 2, that is Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom, let me summarize what we read in the first part of the video. First we discussed about the author. Nelson Mandela, who was a great hero who gave freedom to the blacks in South Africa, was born on 18th July 1918. He fought against the apartheid regime of South Africa, which believed in racism. He spent more than 30 years in South Africa's prison. He became the first black president of South Africa. This chapter is a part of the autobiography of Nelson Mandela titled Long Walk to Freedom. It is a saga of the glorious struggle that the blacks of South Africa waged against the apartheid regime to gain freedom. Then we discussed the first paragraph where Mandela speaks about a historic occasion, the inauguration ceremony, which took place in the Union Buildings Amphitheatre in Pretoria. Politicians and dignitaries from more than 140 countries attended the ceremony. Nelson Mandela was accompanied by his daughter Zinani, and Mr. de Klerk was first sworn in as second deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. Then Nelson Mandela promised to make his country free from poverty, deprivation, suffering, and all sorts of discrimination. We also discussed Mandela's speech. He spoke how for decades South Africa was the seat of white supremacy. Now, in the presence of all the people, confer glory and hope to a newborn liberty. The blacks were considered as outlaws. Not so long ago, were hosting the nations of the world on their soil. Their victory over apartheid was a common victory for justice, peace, and human dignity. Political freedom had been won. Now they would work hard to liberate all their people from the bondage of poverty, deprivation, and disease. Never would South Africa again face the oppression of one by another. These are all the words spoken by Mandela in his speech. Now, moving over to part 2 of the video, page number 19. Page number 19, yes. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, and troop carriers rode in perfect formation over the Union Buildings. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Only moments before, the highest generals of the South African Defence Force and police, their chests were decked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. It was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue and gold of the new South African flag. Now, let us discuss the word meanings. Awe. What does the word awe mean? Awe, amazed, spectacular. What is spectacular? Beautiful in a dramatic and an eye-catching way. Array. What is array? An impressive display. Troop. Troop is here soldiers or armed forces. Precision. That means accuracy. Bedecked. What is bedecked? Decorated. Unmindful. That is not conscious or aware. Chevron. What is chevron? A pattern in the shape of letter V. What is trail? Trail is series or chain. So what Nelson Mandela narrates here is just after the newly elected president's address. That means who? Nelson Mandela's address to the audience. An impressive arrangement of fighter jets, helicopter and soldiers raised everyone's head up in the sky. It symbolized perfection as well as military's respect and obedience towards the free country. The high commanders who have won medals for their bravery also saluted and promised their loyalty. Mandela mentions that he was well aware that these commanders who were now saluting him would have arrested him under the previous rule, as during the oppressive white supremacy, he was considered to be a criminal. The air show finally ended by making off the South African flag in the sky from smoke beneath the jets. Coming to the next paragraph. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of white singing, not the black singing. Yes, the vision of white singing Nkosi Sikeleli Africa. That means Lord bless Africa. And black singing Die Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. Although that they neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised, they would soon know the words by heart. Here, symbolized is be a symbol of. Lyrics, the words of a song. Despised, what do you mean by despised? Hated or had a very low opinion of. Now here, the author. Who is the author? Nelson Mandela. He remembers the day as the playing of the two national anthems of the country. One of the whites and the other that of the blacks. On that day, no one knew the wordings of the anthem of the blacks. But Mandela was confident that everyone would soon learn this anthem that they had once hated. Coming to the next paragraph. On the day of inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years later after the bitter Anglo-Boer War, and before my own death, the white-skinned people of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned peoples of their own land. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhumane societies the world has ever known. Now, in the last decade of the 20th century, and my own 8th decade, one decade is equal to 10 years, right? 8th decade, 8 into 10, 80. 80th. As a man, that system had been overturned overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedoms of all people regardless of the colors of their skin. Now here, coming to the word meanings. Overwhelmed have a strong emotional effect. Erected, constructed, built. Racial domination, when people of one race have power over another race. Inhumane, cruel, brutal. Overturned, reversed. So what he says is, on the day of the inaugural ceremony, the author who is the author? Nelson Mandela. He was remembering the days of past when this whole system of apartheid emerged. It resulted in what? Inequality and inferior treatment of dark-skinned people. They were deprived of their basic fundamental rights. As a result, one of the world's most brutal and inhuman society was burned. Because of what? Because of this apartheid system. This began even before he was born, even before Nelson Mandela's birth. This system, what is the system? The system of apartheid created an atmosphere of extreme cruelty and injustice for a particular part of the community. And who is that particular part of the community? The dark-skinned people. Now, when he is in his 80th decade, in his 80th year, he, along with countless others, have changed this entire system that treats humans as humans, irrespective of their color, caste, gender or age. That's it for the second part of this chapter. Thank you for watching this video.